I'm just about out of time, so I want to ask at this point if there's any comments or questions. I know that this is very abrupt. I usually present this in at least an hour, because I have many wonderful stories that kind of substantiate what is in my heart and what I know is present in this room. Go ahead.
So how did this change your outlook or what you had planned to do with your life?
Well, the most common thing that happens to me is if somebody says, "Where are you from?" You know, I don't just say, "Well, I'm from Boulder." You know, I actually have an experience of the expansiveness of the question that is very temporal, very contemporary. So it's changed my life because I feel that each of us has a very unique purpose for being here. You know, in studying psychology and psychotherapy and chaplain work and all that sort of thing, and I've been in business as well, which was very rich for me to be in business. It took me out of my head and put me into a more tactile, creative experience. Where was I? Where am I now? Where did I go? Where did I go when I left my body? My life is altered because I see all of us on a highly personal journey, and that life confronts us, and it does it not in the linear way. You know, in psychology, basic psychology and even advanced psychology, especially if it's applied to psychotherapy, everything is tethered to the childhood and how it molds us and how our stuff can be created in childhood. I feel that the childhood experience, as harsh as it can be, is very personally purposeful. It's difficult to judge it. Now, in the psychosocial sense, it's very easy to judge it. Kids can be disadvantaged. Parents can be disadvantaged. But there's more to it than just how we judge it. So it's altered my life in terms of how I see things. I'm not as quick to judge a situation. And I think judgment is very important. Discernment is very important. But it's not an intellectual thing. You get to that point. You get to that point through experience in your life. And we're here for this experience. We're here for this experience. And it's pregnant with possibilities. Yes?
I've read a number of these accounts, and I'm curious to know what your experience has been in visiting with people at these meetings. I've never read one that I'm aware of that where a person who's an atheist has had a near-death experience. What do you hear? Have you talked to any people who come from that background?
I haven't talked to anybody personally, but there are people who say they're atheists. To me, atheism is just a way of not buying into what I would call religious doctrine, but it doesn't exempt people from the wonderment in their life and the questions that they might have, that through their skepticism of religion, they grapple with things. Just to bring you up to date, recently there was two medical people that gained some prominence. One was Jill Bolte Taylor, who is a neuroanatomist, had a stroke. You can look her up on YouTube. Jill Bolte Taylor. She wrote a book called The Shock of Insight. Stroke of Insight. She had a stroke. She experienced from her way of talking about it was to interface what she knew about the anatomy of the brain, what she was struggling to do. Very, very revealing. And shifted her consciousness completely from when she had this out-of-body experience. The other person is a neurosurgeon named Eben Alexander, who wrote this book called Proof of Heaven. Well, basically, it altered him to the extent that he doesn't do surgery now. He simply cannot bypass his experience from this so-called near-death experience and back into the surgical mode. But I encourage you to go on YouTube, you can listen to him. It's much easier than reading the book. And it's very enlightening. And that's maybe the right word. It is enlightening.